Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your reluctant host, Vincent Price, here in Dr. Durant's Sanctum for our sometimes weekly Sanctum Sunday Storytime. They sure do give me a lot of words that start with the letter S, especially considering that I have quite the lisp. Anywho, my captor, the doctor, my host, the doctor, has asked to say a few words this evening before I proceed with the show. So here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Durant. Oh, thanks, Vincent. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sanctum. And I hope you are enjoying these Sunday story times. It brings back a lot of nostalgia for me, so much so that I've been sort of hunting down various vinyl records to find and play on Sunday evenings. And I ordered this one recently, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit just because it is... it's a special record to me because we're nearing the end of summer. And summertime to me, I always saw Star Trek because I grew up watching it in syndication. And it would often air in syndication on Channel 56 in the summer. So I always associate the summer with the TV show Star Trek. And there's something very cool about it. Just the way the acts were broken down on each episode, the primary colors, the bright primary colors that the crew wore of red, yellow, and orange, and just how exciting it was to me and you know, how much I enjoyed it. So I got this Star Trek Power record here, and it happened to be completely sealed and brand new when it arrived to me. So just like you would have seen it in the store. So I'm going to open it up here, and we're all going to be listening to it for the first time. This record has been on somebody's shelf or in somebody's storage since the 70s and has never been opened until this very evening. Hope you guys enjoy it. Feel free to leave comments and say hello. And now I bring you back to Vincent Price. Please don't do me any favors. Well, wasn't that a lovely trip down memory lane? What an enjoyable gentleman he is. Well, to get us started, while we open up this record, we're going to listen to The Theme to Star Trek by Neil Norman. It's a different version of it, kind of cosmic and funky. Well, as my old friend Jackie used to say, and away we go. Jody, put on the record. There it is. The brand new Star Trek record. Hope you enjoyed that funky rendition of the theme song to Star Trek by Neil Norman. Now, without further ado, Jody, let's listen to the record. Spin that wax.
Captain's log, stardate 54-4. Bones, can't you keep that thing quiet?
Sorry, Jim. Doesn't like the stage.
Captain's log, stardate 5440. We have been assigned to... Bones!
All right, Jim. I'll take it down to sick bay and house it with our experimental animals. Just remember, I was prepared to treat an ambassador, not to babysit an ill-tempered tabby.
I understand, Bones. We're all upset about it.
Yeoman, give me a hand with this, will you, please?
Yes, sir.
I confess, Captain, that for a change, I find myself empathizing with Dr. McCoy. This is a considerable disappointment.
For me, too, Spock. Captain's log, stardate 5440. The Enterprise has been ordered to transport the pet Waul of the Moavian ambassador from Centaurus base to his home world of Moav. We are proceeding on course as rapidly as possible. Mr. Sulu.
Captain?
How long till orbit insertion around Moav?
Approximately 2 standard weeks, 6 hours, 30 minutes, sir.
2 weeks. Removing a Starfleet cruiser from commission for 2 weeks just to pamper someone's pet.
It does seem rather extraordinary, Captain, but then the Moavian situation is extremely delicate. At the moment, they are neutral. But since they lie near both the Federation and the Klingon Empire, it seems certain they will eventually ally themselves with one or the other. The Moavians are an advanced, logical people.
Logical? Do you call the Moavian ambassador's concern over his pet logical?
Logic and affection are not necessarily mutually exclusive, Captain. I speak from personal experience. I had a pet Sailot once that...
Maybe so, Spock, but when you expect to play host to a full ambassador and find yourself carrying a cross between a nervous bobcat and a furry lizard... Kirk here.
Jim, you were worried about this being a dull trip?
What's happened, Bones?
Yeoman Prentice and I were moving the Waul into sick bay. We bumped into a wall making the turn, and apparently the Waul panicked. We dropped the cage, and the blasted latch broke. The Waul got out.
Got out? All right. Where is it now?
That's the trouble, Jim. We don't know. You know how timid it's been since the Moavian crew sent it aboard. When the latch went, it took off down the corridor like a shot.
You let it get away, Doctor.
Who's that? Spock? Listen, Spock, that thing's got claws as long as my middle finger. I'm a doctor, not an animal trainer. Not that we didn't try. Prentice took a dive at it. His arm should stop bleeding any minute now.
For the Horsehead Nebula, what next? Okay, Bones, stay where you are. Mr. Spock.
Captain?
Take a security crew or 2 down there. Use nets. We'll have an interstellar incident on our hands if that Waul is hurt.
Yes, Captain.
Uhura, broadcast a warning for all hands to keep an eye out for the animal. Most of them have seen pictures of it. Seal all decks above and below sickbay. At least we can keep it in one area.
Very good, Captain.
Put me on the intercom. I'll do it myself. This is the captain speaking. The Moavian Waul, the pet of the Moavian ambassador to the Federation, has escaped. It's loose somewhere near the sickbay. Yeoman Prentice has already been injured attempting to recapture it. I want no more such injuries. Anyone sighting the creature is to contact security immediately. Make no attempt to approach it. Kirk out.
Where did you last see it, Doctor?
Took the branch to the left, Spock. I don't think it went too far. It's probably cowering in a dark corner somewhere nearby, waiting for kindly old Spock to pick it up.
Oh, Mr. Spock,
Yes, Yeoman?
see this arm? If you're going to pick it up, do it carefully.
I'll... Remember that, Yeoman.
Spock? Did I just hear you yowl?
Yowl? Dr. McCoy, sure I don't know what you're talking about.
There! You did it again.
Really, Doctor, I hardly think this is the time for levity. You with the nets, stand ready. Half of the group will scan each room, while the rest of you block any exit. Clear?
All right, sir.
Okay. Prentice, did you hear it too?
Hear what?
Is that so? You better pay more attention, yeoman, or you'll never rise above. Good Hippocrates. Did I just growl at you, Prentice?
Meow. Holy reaction. Me too.
Captain, What is it, Lieutenant?
I'm getting some very strange reports from sickbay level.
In what way strange?
Well, sir, there are several reports of fights breaking out among the crew.
Fighting?
Yes, sir, but that's not what's so peculiar. The voices of those reporting in, they tend to be... I thought it might be static, but not on every channel. Tend to sound like snarling, sir.
Easy, Lieutenant. Those kinds of reports can upset anyone.
It's true, sir. They sound almost cat-like. Wait a second. Here's another one.
Put it on the bridge speakers, Lieutenant.
This is Security Officer Gibson reporting. Captain, I need help down here. Discipline is breaking down throughout this level, I think. Get away from me. Hey!
Gibson, this is the captain speaking. Report. That's enough, Lieutenant. Keep monitoring all calls. Refer them to security.
Aye, sir.
What do you make of it, Mr. Sulu?
I don't know, sir. I never heard anything quite like it.
Lieutenant Uhura, locate Mr. Spock. I want to find out what's going on down.
That won't be necessary, Captain.
That you, Mr. Spock? What in heaven's name happened?
Happened, Captain? Oh, you mean these scratches?
Scratches? Spock, your arms. The upper half of your uniform.
It's difficult to say precisely, Captain. We thought we detected the crying of the Waul in the small storage chamber. I set a cordon of men with nets to block off the only entrance. We started to go in after it when...
Yes, Spock?
I'm not sure. I experienced a sudden desire to run, to hide. It was fear, but not in the logical sense. It was entirely instinctive and irrational. I found myself striking out around me, desperately. The others were doing the same. I saw everything through a red haze. Something was telling me I had to get away, get away, get out.
Spock, are you all right?
I'm okay now, Captain. The influence seems to grow weaker as you move away from it.
What influence?
That, Captain, is exactly what I'd like to know.
Captain, I have...
I told you to hold any further reports of conflict, Lieutenant.
This isn't a combat report, sir. It's Dr. McCoy.
Bones, put him through.
Jim, what's going on? I've got cases of lacerations and bruises piling up down here faster than Chapel and I can treat them. Some of the injured are violent. I'm having a hard time keeping them under sedation.
Bones, did you just snarl?
I guess I must have, Jim. Spock didn't notice it right away either. There's something that sneaks into your mind.
Can you describe it?
Some influence overpowers your emotions and thoughts. The sole urge is to strike out and run in blind panic. That's it. Panic.
How about the source?
I believe there is only one logical possibility, Captain.
Just a minute, Bones. What, Mr. Spock?
We are being subjected to a mass telepathic projection of considerable raw power. A projection emphasizing panic and fear. There is only one entity aboard which could be expected to be experiencing such feelings. The Moravian Waul.
Bones, did you?
I heard, Jim, and I wish somebody would do something about it fast. The thing's strength seems to be increasing. Our latest cases are requiring heavier and heavier sedation.
Do the best you can, Bones. I'll get back to you. Suggestions, Mr. Spock?
We have little information on Moab and less on this creature. I recommend contacting the Waul's owner for instructions.
The ambassador? Spock, you know I can't do that. Moab is a diplomatic flashpoint. If we get in touch with them and confess we can't even handle a single pet, what are they going to think of our capabilities?
More than they will if we never arrive.
What do you mean, Spock?
I can feel it again, Captain. The influence. Dr. McCoy is right, as far as he goes. As the violence around it increases, the Waul becomes more frightened. The more frightened it becomes, the stronger its defensive projection grows. We could lose control of the Enterprise.
You really think it could go that far, Spock?
You see, Captain, soon even coherent speech will become impossible.
Lieutenant Uhura, contact Moab. Get us through to the ambassador to the Federation.
Do Do it yourself, Captain.
Uhura!
I'm sorry, sir. Something just...
Forget it.
I have contact, sir.
Put him on the screen.
This is Ambassador Ovid speaking. Your trip is proceeding pleasantly, Captain?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Ambassador. We have a bit of a problem. Your pet was accidentally set loose on board a little while ago.
He was? Escaped? Captain, I'm shocked.
Not as shocked as I am at you, Mr. Ambassador. Do you know that it's against Federation law to transport an animal which can endanger the lives of a crew without suitable pre-notification?
But, Captain Kirk, Ewas is no danger if he is kept in his cage and properly treated.
You didn't plan all this then?
Plan, Captain? I don't know what you mean.
It would be an excellent way of testing our mental strength.
Captain Kirk, I resent your insinuations. I shall file a formal protest with your government.
Excellent. It'll go well with my report.
Come now, Captain. Such unpleasantness isn't like you. Are you by chance feeling out of sorts?
As if you didn't know. How do we go about recapturing your Waul?
That does present a problem, doesn't it? The more frightened Ewas becomes, the harder it will be to approach him while retaining one's own thoughts. How long has he been free?
Spock?
About 40 minutes, Captain, I should guess.
2/3 of a ship hour, Mr. Ambassador.
A long time.
How about telling us how to shorten it?
But that's just it, Captain Kirk. You see, we don't know how to recapture a terrified Waul either. The only thing I can suggest is to get within, let's see, 300 of your meters of him and shoot him full of PAC-M or LQ tranquilizer.
A Moavian drug, Captain. I doubt we have any aboard.
Even if we did, we can't shoot around 300 meters of corners.
I am sorry for you then, Captain. You must let me know if you come up with a solution. And now you must excuse me. I have an important appointment with the Minister for Foreign Affairs.
Wait a minute, you can't just...
Transmission terminated, sir. I'm attempting to reestablish, but they don't acknowledge.
Keep trying. Mr. Spock?
I see no choice but to make another attempt with the nets.
All right. Good luck.
Who needs it? Sorry, Captain. The influence.
I know, Mr. Spock. I can feel it myself now. Lieutenant, any luck?
No, sir. I will continue to...
Never mind. Get me sickbay.
Sick bay. Dr. McCoy here.
Bones, the Moavian ambassador said a couple of strains M or LQ of a tranquilizer called PAC would put the Waul under.
PAC? Never heard of it. We've had practically no exchange of information yet with Moavian medical personnel, let alone veterinarians.
Check the medical computer anyhow. Maybe there's a hypothesized Federation analog.
I'll try, Jim, but we're pretty busy down here.
I need that drug, Bones.
I'll see what I can dig up. Sick bay out.
Mr. Sulu, take the helm. I'm going with Mr. Spock.
Yes, sir.
Uhura, if you or Sulu find yourselves going under the influence of this thing, put out an automatic mayday describing our situation.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This the Carter? Wow. Or Spock?
Yes, Captain. You can fight it a little, but it digs at you, pounds away like a hammer.
Like a hammer? Spock, I just had an urge to take a swing at you.
I am experiencing similar leanings towards belligerent action, Captain. We should be nearing the Waul's last known hiding place.
It's growing stronger, Mr. Spock. Wow. I can't... It's just sitting there, Spock.
Yes, Captain. It's truly frightened. Just another few meters, Captain. If you can. Get the net on it.
Get it on yourself, Spock.
Captain, get away! Get away! Tear! Kill!
Captain, Mr. Spock, what's going on here?
Telepathic screen.
I heard. It's the animal there, isn't it? The Waul. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Nice kitty, kitty.
Lieutenant Morris, be careful. Dangerous.
Nonsense. Nice kitty. Armalurvo.
Mr. Spock, you all right?
Yes, Captain. I must report myself under arrest for assaulting.
No, Spock. You had no control over your thoughts.
Is this poor, scared little fur ball what's been causing all the ruckus?
Listen to it purr, Spock. Lieutenant Morris, what did you do to it?
Do? Why, nothing, Captain. It was frightened out of its mind, that's all. I was off duty asleep until the noise of fighting in the corridor outside disturbed me. I learned what was happening and was on my way to the bridge when I saw you and Mr. Spock fighting. There, it's all right now.
But why?
Naturally, Lieutenant Moress is not affected. She is of feline ancestry herself and clearly able to empathize with primitive feline thoughts. The Waul detected assurance in a kindred spirit and at once relaxed.
Lieutenant, you're hereby relieved of communications duties until we arrive at Moab and deliver this pet to Ambassador Oabit. Till then, your sole responsibility will be to see to the care and feeding of Iwas here.
Captain, have you managed to...
Iwas is safe and content, Mr. Ambassador. Lieutenant Moress, one of our communications officers, is a Cation. She was able to calm it instantly.
Excellent news, Captain. Having a crew comprised of many races is a definite advantage. It speaks well of your Federation. I'm looking forward to meeting you on your arrival. Please be exceptionally gentle with Iwas in the next time periods, though.
We'll be as gentle as we can, of course, and... Why the sudden concern?
You mean you didn't know, Captain? An oversight on the part of the crew which delivered her to you.
Her? I thought you said him.
An oversight on my part. Iwas is pregnant. She'll have kittens in a few days, I suspect. You can expect to have between 6 and 10 additional little Wauls before you arrive here at Moab. Carry on, Captain.
Mr. Spock, inform Lieutenant Moress she's about to become a mother. Inform Dr. McCoy also. And tell him to be careful during delivery. We wouldn't want either mother or children to get frightened, would we?
No, Captain.
Wow.
Captain's log, stardate 5444.9. The Enterprise is on a charting run through the partially explored Moran sector. Since this region seems relatively devoid of suns and planets, we expect to be finished here in a few days. Kirk out.
Not soon enough for me, Captain.
Bored, Mr. Connors? I thought you liked solitude and quiet.
I do, Captain, but there are limits to one's ability to enjoy nothingness. Look at the screen. No planets worthy of investigating, hardly any stars, not even any interesting phenomena like quasars or black holes or redisars. Just parsecs and parsecs of nothing.
We should be through here by tomorrow, ship time, Connors. In the meantime... Lieutenant Uhura,
Yes, Captain?
aren't you going to acknowledge?
Acknowledge what, Captain?
Wasn't that an incoming communication?
No, sir. I thought it came from the navigation console.
Mr. Sulu.
Not from here, sir.
There, that's it.
All systems neutral, Captain. It's not any of our instrumentation.
What is it, Mr. Spock?
I don't know, Captain. I've never heard anything quite like it. Commencing sensor scan.
Uhura, are you sure nothing's trying to call in?
Positive, Captain. No one on board is sending either.
Mr. Sulu? Mr. Connors?
All clear, Captain. No sign of any auditory malfunction. All instruments functioning normally.
Connors, are you sure there's no ship out there?
Certain, Captain. If there is, it doesn't register on our screens.
Mr. Spock, anything from the computer?
Nothing definite, Captain. We appear to have encountered a previously unknown physical phenomenon. There are faint indications it is highly localized while remaining diffused.
That's contradictory, Mr. Spock.
Quite, Captain. The computer is equally confused.
There's one more possibility. All hands. This is the captain speaking. I'm aware that this assignment has been less than exciting thus far. This is no excuse for interfering with ship's communications. Whoever is generating semi-musical noises on the bridge will please cease such activities immediately. I guess that...
I don't think this is the product of someone's peculiar sense of humor, Captain. This doesn't sound like any kind of music I've ever encountered.
I have to agree, Spock. But if the source isn't outside the ship and it isn't inside, then where is it coming from?
An excellent question, Captain.
Captain's log supplementary. The mysterious music has been with us for 3 days now and gives indications of increasing rather than abating. Every effort to locate some source for the sounds has proven futile. We are no closer to an explanation now than we were days ago.
I feel it incumbent on me to point out that if this keeps up, crew efficiency is bound to suffer.
I'm aware of the problem, Mr. Spock. There doesn't seem to be any way to shut out the sound except by plugging one's ears. It's still hard to sleep, and we can't have everyone walking around with earplugs. I can't run this ship by sign language.
Speaking of earplugs, Spock.
Please, Doctor, for once try to be serious. Besides, I believe I have isolated the cause of the sound. If it's a natural phenomenon, it behaves in the most unexpected fashion, rising in certain sections of the ship while falling in others, as if it were moving bodily about.
Oh, come on, Spock.
There are definite modulations in the noise which suggest other than random origin. Some possess almost vocal undertones. I am left with only one hypothesis, that we are being visited by a being of pure sound.
Pure sound, pure hogwash. The most ridiculous part of it is, I think you're right, Spock. I only wish there was some way we could tell it to shut up. It's driving me crazy, and it keeps getting louder.
Do you think it's aware of us as intelligences, Bones?
I don't know, Jim. It's an incredible theory, but as Spock says, nothing else seems to fit. I've already had some cases of people who can't get to sleep even with strong earplugs. I've got a solution to that, at least for the worst cases.
What's that?
There's Chapel who's monitoring the shuttle. The influence of this noise doesn't extend beyond the ship. Once outside, people can sleep in peace again. But the shuttle will only hold so many, even in relays. We've got to find a way to turn it off.
I might add, Captain, that we have no way of estimating the volume this creature can produce. It could conceivably drive everyone on board permanently deaf, if not stopped.
Dear God, I wish I was permanently deaf, having to listen to these awful records. Trapped down here, where no man has gone before. This room should be where no duster has been seen before. Anywho, Jody, turn the record over. The sooner this is done, the sooner I'm out of here. Jody, for heaven's sake, stop dilly-dallying. What are you doing? Put the needle on the record, Jody.
I might as well share the rest of the bad news with you. Lieutenant Uhura, tell them.
You see, the deep space beam is useless, all channels. All I can get is static or variations on the central musical rhythm. We're cut off. I'm still keeping several channels open for incoming calls, however. Maybe someone will listen in and be able to tell we're in trouble.
More likely, they'll just think we're having a heck of a party.
That leaves us with only one choice. Somehow we're going to have to make contact with this thing. Tell it what it's doing. Make it understand. Spock, do you think it's capable of communicating?
If so, Captain, it has not responded to any of the several attempts I've made. If it does comprehend, it is choosing to ignore our voices, codes, and screen signs I've displayed throughout the ship.
Can't we fight back somehow, Spock?
Fight pure sound, Doctor. How? We could overpower it with more sound. Maybe. That might drive us insane or deaf faster than the creature would. It might also anger it. It might find a blast of artificial sound challenging, like another of its own kind. I cannot imagine what its belligerent response would be, except to guess it would not be pleasant.
Everyone okay? That one hurt.
All right here, Captain, but half the transparent facings on my instruments are gone.
Damage reports coming in, Captain, from all over the ship.
The danger is no longer theoretical, Captain. The creature appears able to reproduce any frequency it desires. Presumably, it is potentially capable of sonically destroying any substance on board. Whether it is doing this intentionally or inadvertently will not matter if it happens to hit upon the resonating factor of the human bone.
We've got to make contact somehow.
It may be trying to contact us, Jim. It's liable to end up killing us trying to contact us.
There's got to be a way. Mr. Sulu? Mr. Connors? Where's Lieutenant Connors?
He left a few minutes ago, Captain, during that painful burst of noise.
Lieutenant Connors, you left your post without... What is that thing?
If someone would lend me aid.
Here, let me.
I recognize it, Captain. An Edoan Elysiar. The triple keyboard operates an echo chamber, resonating bars made of bone, and something that rather resembles an earthly xylophone twisted into a Mobius strip.
What are you going to do, Mr. Connors?
Captain, the noise. My ears.
Connors, what are you...
I'm going to attempt to communicate with it, Captain. The only way we haven't yet tried. Mr. Spock spoke of fighting noise with noise. Somehow I feel there is a thing here that it needs to be understood, not fought. I will start by improvising, trying to work from one of the aliens' themes.
Music. We didn't try music.
Continue, Connors.
It's reacting, Jim. It understands.
Keep playing, Lieutenant. The universal language, music. We've said it for thousands of years. I never thought I'd see it interpreted literally. Stay with it, Connors.
I'm trying, Captain.
How lovely.
The alien as symphony. There's a logical classification for you, Spock.
Mathematical precision is certainly inspiring, Doctor.
Captain, I'm getting tired. I don't know if I can keep up.
You've got to, Connors. We can't risk breaking off now. We may never re-establish contact again.
Jim, how are we going to explain to it what we want it to do?
I don't know. Spock?
I don't know either, Captain. I don't know if the terms music and language are truly interchangeable.
Connors, play something sad. Convince it all is not well.
It may be working, Captain. If it only joins logic to its sounds.
Emotion, you mean? Jim, maybe it... No, it didn't understand. It didn't understand at all. It's no good, Jim. It didn't work.
Wait, Bones. Give it time. Connors!
Captain, I can't keep up. I can't. It's not possible.
Do your best, Mr. Connors. It's gone. It's finally gone.
Gone where, Jim?
Who knows, Bones? We don't know where it came from. We can't imagine where it goes. I hope it went away happy. Perhaps someday, when we understand a little more about how our own music affects us, we'll be ready to understand and communicate with creatures like it a little better.
I heard a voice crying in the wilderness.
What was that, Lieutenant?
Nothing, sir. All channels appear clear now. Shall I contact the nearest Starfleet base?
No, we don't appear to have sustained any serious damage. We'll finish this charting run as planned. Mr. Connors, thank you.
My arms feel like two corings of a planetary center, Captain. But I believe I actually enjoyed it. I've never had such a fluid, responsive musical partner.
Did you say something, Bones?
Oh, I was just wondering, Jim. Do you think we'll ever find it again?
I think so, Bones. When we're able to talk to it. I think it wanted to talk to us. It'll be back. Bones, have you ever listened to any violin concertos?
I'm not much of a classical aficionado, Jim.
There are times when that lone violin is up there, against all those other instruments, and they're quiet. and that one violin is the loneliest sound in the world. I think our visitor meant us no harm. It was just plain lonely. Mr. Connors, maintain course. Mr. Sulu, Mr. Spock, resume charting procedures. Captain's log, stardate 5442.8. First Officer Spock and I have been directed to act as Federation representatives to discuss conflicting claims to the metal-rich, uninhabited world of star WWB-7. We are proceeding on course to the neutral world of Pomflens to meet with Ambassador Koft of the Klingon Empire and Envoy Vendies of the Romulan Sphere.
Enjoy yourself, Captain. I understand Pomflens is a very appealing world. But be sure and let the Klingons and Romulans know where we stand.
I'm afraid we won't have much time for the former, Mr. Scott. This is strictly a business trip. Besides, the Romulans agreed to this meeting, provided all participants remain within the confines of the Pomflensian off-planet mission.
Which means no sightseeing and no waste of time.
I might have known you'd look at it like that, Mr. Spock.
Mr. Scott, I did not know you exhibited tendencies towards telepathy.
Haggis. Mr. Kyle,
Yes, Chief.
prepare for beam down. Are you ready, Captain, Mr. Spock?
Ready.
Ready, Chief.
Energize, Mr. Kyle.
Hello.
Warmth and greetings.
I'm Captain Kirk of the USS Enterprise, and this is Mr. Spock, my first officer.
How farest thou, Captain? Call me Amalod of the Bureau. I represent the government of Pomflens. Ambassador Koft and Envoy Vendies await you in the conference bubble. I have been directed to escort you there. You are several minutes late. The Klingon Imperial Representative Koft has displayed much temper.
Sounds like Koft, all right.
The other Federation representative is already here, too.
Other representative?
Amalod, we know nothing of another Federation representative to this convocation.
Dearest me, his credentials appeared quite in order.
What's his name?
Spratt, I believe. Jack Spratt.
Odd name.
All Terran names are odd. What is oddest is that we were not told that Starfleet was sending a third observer to the conference.
Peculiar indeed, Mr. Spock.
We're here. Gentle sirs.
And I tell you, Vendies, this is merely another of the slimy, unmentionable subterfuges that the Federation employs to... Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, so delightful to see you again.
The feelings are mutual, Koft.
Yes. Well, allow me to introduce First Officer Cattell of the Imperial Battle Cruiser Avenger.
Mr. Spock.
Officer Cattell.
Morning, Vendors. I almost didn't recognize you.
I am not offended, Captain Kirk. It is our claim to the world known presently only as WWB-7 that I wish you and your government to recognize. My assistant, Subaltern Wuonks.
Yes. Now that we all know each other. As I was saying, just before you joined us, Captain Kirk, the Empire appreciates the speed with which you have acted to rectify this deplorable, unnecessary little spat. Hopefully, everything can be resolved to everyone's satisfaction with as much speed as possible.
Well put, colleague. To that end, I presume to open formal negotiations with a traditional toast. An exceptional local vintage, I am told. I took the liberty of determining in advance that it would be both tasteful and palatable to all of us. To the successful apportionment of rights.
To a rapid resolution.
To truth. Spock, you enjoyed it. I didn't think you cared for alcoholic beverages.
Protocol, Captain, required.
Now, to business, gentlemen. I'm sure that you Vendies and you, Kirk, immediately see that...
A moment, Mr. Ambassador.
Really, Spock, considering Koft's temper, do you think it wise to interrupt him already?
I call your attention to the back of the room, Captain.
What are you two muttering about?
The back. Oh, I see, Spock. You there. Come out where we can see you.
Who, me?
You're the only other person in this chamber. Are you supposed to be a representative from Starfleet?
My name's Spratt. Actually, I'm more of a neutral observer.
Kirk, what's the meaning of this?
That's what I'm trying to find out, Mr. Envoy. Neutral observer, For whom?
Captain, never mind. The Pomflensians apparently accepted him. Let's get on with this.
That face.
What are you mumbling, Spock?
Captain, nothing.
Oh, all right. Look, Mr. Spratt, I don't know who you are or what you're doing here, but if you took advantage of the Pomflensians...
A notoriously backward people.
Polite.
That's what I said, wasn't it?
That face. Captain, I know I've seen that face somewhere before.
Let him stay. He can do no harm. I, too, wish to proceed to a speedy conclusion of the conference.
That's right. Go right ahead, gentlemen. I'm just here to observe.
Well, if you and Koft are both willing...
As I was saying, gentlemen,
That face.
it is well known that the Imperial Klingon claim to WWB-7 is totally without foundation, based wholly on rumor, and a highly unlikely landing by a drunken scout pilot. It has no real legitimacy whatsoever.
Captain, request permission to return to ship. I require a full medical checkup. My hearing appears to be going.
No, Spock. I think I heard it too.
Mr. Ambassador, did you just say what I think you just said?
I merely said we have no solid claim to the world in question. We don't. I mean, excuse me, gentlemen, I don't feel very well. Vendiz, perhaps you'd better go ahead.
If you wish. It doesn't matter anyway, since Romula has absolutely no proof that the wandering prospector who put in our claim to WWB-7 actually made planetfall. In fact, he probably made the whole story up on orders from... Great Mother of the Egg, what am I saying?
There's something very peculiar happening here, Captain. It may be to our advantage, however. This might be a good time to state the Federation's position.
Since there seems to be some confusion on the part of both the Empire and the Romulan hegemony, let me say that the Federation's claim is valid under subsection 6 of the Treaty of Malb. Of course, everyone knows that the treaty is of dubious legitimacy and...
Most peculiar.
Ambassador Koft, Envoy Vendiz, if you two bloodsuckers are agreed,
You're overwrought, Kirk. However, under the circumstances, I don't excuse you. I mean...
Why don't you both return to your ships for a little rest and shoot yourselves?
Exalted One, permit me to say that's not a very diplomatic statement to make, especially for an idiot like yourself.
What did you say, Subaltern?
Why, nothing, Exalted One. I only called you what you are, an idiot. I like to place myself not under arrest.
Noble sirs, control yourselves. Though I know it's hard for members of backward species to...
That face! Stop that man! Stop him!
Let me go, I haven't done anything.
Mr. Spock, have you gone mad?
Mad indeed, Captain. Have we all?
I don't know what you two are up to, but statements have been made in this room which could be regarded as an act of war.
That's because you're so full of hot air that...
Captain, before further damage is done to the conference, I suggest everyone keep quiet. Everyone except this person. I didn't recognize him until he tried to slip out. Why don't you relax, Mr. Quince, and tell us how you've managed to sabotage this gathering?
Sabotage?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Mr. Spock. Be assured I will report this to... What did you call me? My name is Spratt.
Quince. Coriolanus Quince.
I've heard that name before. Somewhere.
What does this mean, Captain Kirk? Who is this person?
Coriolanus Quince. Mr. Spock, the same Coriolanus Quince who promised to double the grain output of Demosthenes IV and ended up turning the entire crop into gas-producing weeds that made everyone who got near them giggle uncontrollably? The same Coriolanus Quince who planned to quadruple the water supply of the desert world of Quatar and ended up changing the entire existing supply into Jell-O? The same Coriolanus Quince who...
The same, Captain. The same.
Captain Kirk, would you please explain what's going on here? I know how lazy and incompetent you are, but that is...
It's all right, Vendiz. None of us may be responsible for what he's saying. This imposter here is responsible for nearly destroying at least 3 Federation colonies in the past 10 years, not to mention numerous other unmentionable acts of destruction.
I have simply tried to exercise my talents, to make the galaxy safe for the quiet, the peace-loving, the meat.
Especially for Coriolanus Quince.
Kirk,
please?
Mr. Quince is a well-known, notoriously known, one might say, inventor of undeniable genius and distorted motives. Or rather, undeniable motives and distorted genius. His intentions are good. His results usually devastating.
Oh, well, a little bug here, a little bug there. I've had some bad luck, I'm afraid.
Bad luck? Do you call turning the entire water supply of a world into pig gelatin bad luck?
There was a polymerization factor involved that could not be foreseen.
You have a brilliant mind, Quince. Your trouble is that between imagination and execution, something gets lost.
But not this time, Mr. Spock. The drug has proven itself completely successful. Witness the course your conversations have taken.
Drug? What drug? Kirk, if this person has poisoned us...
What did you do, Quince?
I spiked that ceremonial bottle of wine you all found so tasteful, gentlemen, with my clear potion.
Clear potion?
Anyone who ingests it is forced from then on to tell nothing but the absolute truth. By the Imperial Charter, what a fiendish idea.
Kirk, do you realize that if the secret of this drug is made widely known, modern diplomacy as we know it will be rendered impossible? Indeed, governments will collapse.
While I don't think the effect on the Empire and the hegemony would be all bad, I agree there are dangers.
Obviously, this conference can't possibly proceed to a satisfactory conclusion. I move we adjourn to a future date. I now call a new conference together. Subject, the time and method of execution of a human known as Coriolanus Quince for crimes against civilization.
Give him to Romula. There can only be one just end for the perpetrator of such a horrible plot.
I disagree. As first to suffer damage, the Empire claims the right. Besides, we can make his passing last longer.
Really, gentlemen, I didn't think... What harm can a little truth do?
What harm can a little truth do? You were right, Kirk. This person is criminally naive. A little truth, it could bring down all business, all government, destroy the civilized galaxy.
Those aren't the things that worry me, Quince. It's the little things. So many personal relationships require, not really lies, but tiny evasions, little subterfuges. You understand?
Yes, I understand.
Which would you rather have, Quince? Peace and little lies, or truth and constant war?
You've got it all backwards, all of you. It's not like that at all.
No? Try some of your own potion and then tell me again.
I'm not thirsty.
Give him to me, Kirk, and we'll finish him and his invention once and for all.
No, Romula claims the right.
I don't wish to have to disappoint you, gentlemen, but Federation law states that as a Federation citizen, Quince must be tried by his own people.
I really can't protest, Kirk. You're absolutely right. I mean, the Greenwich.
You mean despite the Federation's laxity in such matters, you're not going to let us have him, even though it wouldn't be legal and proper?
You see, gentlemen, the potion does have its little uses.
Bah! I now declare this conference indefinitely postponed. Envoy Vendiz, Captain Kirk, I bid you both a miserable afternoon.
The most pleasant same to you, Ambassador. Ah.
We didn't expect you back so soon, Cap. Who's that with you?
His name is Quince, Mr. Scott. And if he tells you he can triple our speed, don't let him anywhere near the engines.
Captain, I beg of you, let me spread truth throughout the galaxy.
Sorry, Quince. Not at the expense of hundreds of millions of misunderstanding lives. It's a beautiful dream, but sometimes dreams and reality don't coincide. Mr. Sulu, I'll resume command now. Lieutenant Uhura, contact sickbay. Dr. McCoy to the bridge.
Won't be necessary, Jim. I started up as soon as I heard you were beaming back. What happened?
Tell you later, Bones. What do you know about advanced truth serums?
A little. Why?
Dr. McCoy does not have the experience necessary to discover an anti-serum anyway, Captain.
Never mind, Bones. It seems we won't be needing you after all.
Nothing personal, Doctor. I know you could do it, but I was able to say otherwise. It appears, Captain, that the effect of the drug is only temporary.
I knew those protein chains couldn't be that stable.
What is this, some kind of a game? I've got work to do, Jim.
Sorry, Bones. It was no game. Speaking of instability, we still have the question of what to do with Mr. Quince.
I've been considering that very problem, Captain. I'm afraid we're going to have to let him go.
What?
We can prohibit him from manufacturing his clear potion, but no one was injured by it, and there seem to be no harmful after effects. Therefore, he has committed no crime.
What about ruining the conference?
We cannot prove that the conference collapsed solely because of his potion.
I see. All right, Quince, you heard Mr. Spock. You're getting off lightly this time. But I'm warning you personally, and you better know I'm telling the truth, that if you show your face anywhere in my patrol sector, I'll serve you up to Koft and Vendiz. Mr. Sulu, escort our guest to the brig. We'll release him at our next planetfall.
Come along, Mr. Quince. You'll hear from me again, Captain. I'll be back. The galaxy hasn't heard the last of Coriolanus Quince. I'm going to save it in spite of itself. I'm going to...
What do you think, Mr. Spock? Have we seen the last of that pest?
No, Captain. I'm very much afraid that he was telling the truth.
Dear God, what was up with that Quince and his clear potion? Spiking people's drinks and raving on about it. Ugh, disgusting. Well, now the doctor has asked that I play one more record to end our program this evening. He says it's from another sci-fi classic, and so here it is. It's Buck Rogers in the 25th century. The hell is this, Drek? Apparently it's the theme song with the actual lyrics that started off the theatrical release. Yes, back in the 70s, they used to theatrically release made-for-TV movies. Overseas and here, I blame Star Wars. Anywho, Jody, change the records.
Searching my past.
You see what I'm forced to listen to? Day after day, week after week. I'll leave you with these words, loyal listeners. Help me! For God's sakes, help me! Somebody get me out of this prison! Until next week, pleasant dreams.